summer of 2024, I thru hiked the Kungsleden trail in the Sweden. It is a 450 kilometers long trail in the northern Sweden, and I had a base weight of around 8 kilos. It wasn't ultralight setup, but I think it was a good balance between comfort, safety and weight. Today I would like to present you what was inside of my pack. So every day I packed my pack in the exact same way. I used the Sierra Design flex capacitor, which is 40 to 60 liters expandable pack. I was very happy with this pack because it has around 1.2 kilos of weight, and as you feel it, it doesn't gets bigger in the height. It gets wider, and it was very comfortable on my back. So outside of my pack I had a 3mm Skalman Grumlight foam, which served as my sitting pad, as my rest pad, and I also use it under the inflatable pad, which I will show you later on. So part of that, I had a Ferrino trekking poles Z type, which is necessary to set up my tent as well. I also carried 2 water bottles. One it was one of 0.5 liters, another one I think it was around 0.6. So my one water bottle was always here, other one was on the side, but basically I wasn't carrying much water or any water at all, because on Kungsleden there are water streams everywhere, so the water isn't concerned. In this compartment I carried my cell phone, which was iPhone 11. I wish I had some waterproof casing because it was raining a lot on Kungsleden, so to keep it dry I use the Ziploc bags, and then I would just put it in some of my Hipbelt pockets. It was my primary source of navigation, so critical equipment. With regards to the self-service, in the last stretch of the Kungsleden, in the northern last stretch, just before the Abisko National Park, or maybe 2-3 days before reaching it, there's no self-service at all. In the rest of the Kungsleden there was at least once a day some kind of self-service. Okay, moving to the Hipbelt pocket. So in this one I carried sunglasses, just some cheap from the Decathlon. Then hand sanitizer, titanium whistle, and compass, also Decathlon compass. This was my head net by AliExpress. Opinel number 8 knife, and in this Ziploc bag I carried my Kungsleden guide. So this was a printout of the ebook which I bought, and I printed out only 3 pages which covered the list of the shelters. Every day I was marking my progress, and I had also description for each shelter. Does it contain a shop? Does it have a Wi-Fi recharge point, etc. So this was my Kungsleden guide. In my right hip belt pocket I carried basically my camera equipment. So in one of the Ziploc bags I was carrying the connection to my phone, tripod connection to my phone, and some cheap Bluetooth remote. This was a Joby tripod, I think the smallest one they have, and the camera I was using was Osmo Action 3. So that was all my camera setup, very simple and very efficient, because it was all the time quickly accessible to me. Okay, let's move on to the top pocket. Here I had 10 stakes. I carried 12 10 stakes, 2 of them being the MSR Groundhog, 2 of them being MSR Groundhog Mini, and 8 of them being the just standard Gossamer Gear. And the bag in which I was carrying my 10 stakes was outdoor line, just some stake bag. I think it is EcoPax material or something like that. Also I had my toiletries, used travel, and some PP. Had a cap by Decathlon and a cork ball to rest my feet. Now let's move into the main compartment. So on the top of my main compartment I kept my tent, which was Gossamer Gear the 1. I was very happy with this tent. It is so simple, so light. It is a single wall tent, so there was a little bit of condensation, and I had to be careful with the tent selection. I had to find always some sheltered place, not exposed to the wind. But overall, I think this is a great tent. Together with the stakes, I think I had like 0.6 kilos, and I kept it inside the nano-fume bag to protect the rest of my pack in the morning when I was packing it wet. Next, I had my camp shoes, which were Birkenstock Arizona. Although they are not so heavy, they are quite bulky, so probably for the next hike I will try to find some smaller alternative to this one. Next is my water filtration system, which I wasn't using at all. So I had a Sawyer squeeze. I didn't use it even once. I was drinking water directly from the streams. I had no issues. I avoided drinking it from the lakes, and as I mentioned before, on Kungsleden there's water anywhere, so basically I wasn't carrying any water with me. And I don't know what to say or what to recommend to you. If you are unsure then about filtering it or not, probably just filter it. I took a little bit of risk and everything was okay. I also carried a cleaning for the syringe for the back flush, also didn't use it. And I carried 2 liters Sinnock water bladder, which was okay while I was camping to have just water next to me. I would usually fill this one and these 2 bottles, so I had around 3 liters for the cooking on my camp spot. Apart from that, I never carried with me so much water. Okay, moving on. I had two bags with my clothing. One was my sleeping clothes. So let's see what was inside. Actually, this was my carrying clothes. So I had one Nike shorts, the mounting hardware air mesh, which I was very happy with, especially having a wind jacket over this thing was really good setup. Kept me warm, at the same time great breathability. And this was the wind jacket I was used, just some cheap one from I don't know where. And the next thing was my OMM rain pants, the merino Decathlon gloves. Actually, these are the glove liners. I don't recall that I was using it. Next was my spare socks, which were the darn tough water. And the last was this Arc'teryx cap. So this was my warm clothing, and I was all the time wearing this, what is now on me. So Decathlon down jacket, sun hoodie by Fjallraven. That is actually their Abisko model, which is very thin, very breathable, very light, but unfortunately it's synthetic, so it develops some smell after some time. I had the Decathlon trousers, La Sportiva trail runners, and Injiji socks. Also, I wore inside my trail runners, I had Superfit insoles. Okay, let's move on to my sleeping clothes. So here I had two pairs of underwear by Decathlon, one merino, one synthetic. I had a small towel, also by Decathlon. I had a long sleeve merino shirt, also by Decathlon. I had merino leggings by Decathlon. I had one synthetic shirt by Jack Wolfskin. I was mostly using it to secure my sleeping pillow, and I use it like a cleaning shirt while I was in mountain huts. I had one spare socks by Najin, so in total I had three socks I was wearing in Gigi or the Darn Tough, and this one I kept clean for sleeping. And the last thing was the Alpha Direct leggings or camp pants by Farpoint. And okay, actually this is the last thing, sleeping mask. I would strongly recommend getting one, because in Sweden during summer there's basically there's the daylight 24 hours, so you're gonna need it. let's move on to my cooking system. So I bought a gas canister in Hemavan, my starting point. I also saw in a shop in the mountain house in the Abisko that there's one as well to buy. So if you are starting in the northernmost point, you can get one. If you are starting southernmost point, you can get a gas canister, so no worries about that. So I was using a 1.1 liters Tokes inside, which I kept one C2 Summit cap. I also kept a gas tripod, small big lighter, and MSR pocket rocket stove. Next, I carried a rain jacket by Mountain. I was more or less happy with it. I had a Tyvek food bag from the Kungsleden Gear, in which I kept the Tokes long spoon, titanium one. With regards to food, I never carried more than 2 or 3 days worth of food, or maybe 4 days. You can get it, you have big shops in Hemavan, Amarnars, Jakvik, and the last one in the Abisko. Also in the mountain huts you can buy food, so you really don't need to carry like 7 days of food or something like that. Just it was around 2 or 3 kilos maximum inside of this. Next is my electronics bag. I kept everything in a C2 Summit 2 liters bag. I had a spare batteries for my, as well as charger for my DJI Osmo 3. I kept a wallet, outdoor line wallet, some duct tape, 10 milliamperes power bank by Anker, Nitecore NU25 headlamp, which I haven't used not a single time due to 24 hours of daylight. Some cables, earphones, etc. And my Apple wall charger with unfortunately just one USB outlet. So this was one of my, I would say, mistakes or regrets. I wish I had a wall charger with multiple outlets, and you can charge devices in the town or in the bigger mountain houses like Saltolukta or Kvikjok. In the smaller shelters you cannot charge your devices. So I would say for the next time I would definitely bring one wall charger with more outlets, and I would bring one more power bank. This time I was quite concerned with regards of my energy, because I had to charge my phone, my camera, my watch, so I was a little bit tight on energy. So just for the peace of mind for my next hike, I will bring 2 power banks. Next is my first aid bag, in which I carried also some other things, but basically that was some bandages, Leukotape, my toothbrush, spare lighter, the sleeping pad repair kit, nail clipper, these kind of things. Unfortunately not in the waterproof bag, so this is also one of the things I'm gonna change for my next hike. I had also one notepad along with a marker and a pen in which I haven't written anything. I wrote my diary inside of my phone, so for the next hike I'm not gonna carry this as well. For my tent footprint I carry the Tyvek. My sleeping pad was Nemo Tensor with R factor of, I believe, 5.4. I didn't carry the storage sack, but I carried the air pump, which they call, I believe, vortex pump. It was quite useful. Has, I think, around 100 grams, but it speeds up the inflation. And the last thing in my bag is, of course, my sleeping bag or my quilt, which was Enlightened Equipment Revelation 30F, which corresponds to like -1 Celsius. I wish I had like 20F, but with that much of sleeping clothes which I showed you, I was warm. Maybe one night I didn't feel like warm enough, but rest of the night I was okay. But just saying, if you have a chance, maybe consider something a little bit warmer than the 30F quilt. Like, I believe 20F would be quite okay. And inside my quilt storage bag I kept my C2 Summit Iros pillow. And that's it. That's all I carried for my... Yeah, and one last thing was, again, nylon film bag, which I used to keep everything inside of my bag dry. So now I'm gonna put all these things back. We're gonna wait and see how much exactly was the weight of my pack. And now let's see what was my exact pack weight for my 18 days Kungsleden thru hike. So it was 8.09 kilos, so just about 8 kilos. In general, I believe my pack was never more than 12 kilos in total weight with the food and water, which I believe it's quite reasonable and quite achievable. Okay, so that's all. Thanks for the watching. Thanks for the staying so long on this video. I hope you like it. Please consider subscribing to my channel, liking this video, and I believe you will have a great Kungsleden adventure. Thanks for watching.